Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Good to be back.
Today we're taking a close look at Grupo Financiero Galicia, GGAL, an Argentinian financial services company.
Right. You shared some interesting articles and reports on them.
Yeah, and the mission today is really to unpack what's most important to understand about this company, like right now.
Sort of a shortcut to getting a handle on GGAL for everyone listening.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got info on their business, what they actually do. Recent stock performance, there was that big jump in April 2025 we should talk about.
Definitely.
Insights into financial health, potential red flags, strengths too, market sentiment.
And how they stack up against competitors like Banco Santander, Banco Macro.
Their competitive position. Plus, future outlook, some recent news on stock prices and strategic stuff. And there's a detailed due diligence report summary, too.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, covers metrics like revenue trends, EPS, earnings per share, PE ratio, debt to equity, cash flow. Also a projected ROE of 15% for 2025.
15%, okay.
Plus competitive advantages, market position, management insights, valuation stuff like PB, dividend yield, and key risks. Think Argentinian economy.
Right, the big one. So, yeah, a lot to get through.
Seems like it.
Okay, let's start with the basics. What exactly does Grupo Financiero Galicia do?
Well, it's a financial service holding company based in Argentina, operates in that regional banking space.
Holding company, so multiple businesses under one umbrella.
Pretty much. They offer like a whole range of services, banking obviously, but also insurance, consumer finance, and investment banking.
Okay.
Key segments they mention are the bank itself, then Naranja X, that's their consumer finance arm, pretty big name down there, I believe.
Naranja X, got it.
Then insurance and sort of an other businesses category.
And the actual products, savings accounts, loans.
All of that. Savings, checking, different kinds of loans, credit cards, online banking, mutual funds, asset management, insurance products, private banking, and even a digital investment platform.
Quite diverse.
Very diverse. And that diversification, that could be a real strength, spreads the risk a bit.
Makes sense. If one area struggles, maybe another picks up the slack.
Potentially, yeah. It gives them multiple avenues for income and customer reach.
Okay, let's shift to recent performance then. You mentioned that stock surge, mid-April 2025.
Right. It was pretty dramatic. One report had it up, 11.7% to maybe 12.4%?
And I saw another mentioning 16.7%.
Yeah.
All in the same day.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Whatever the exact number, it points to a really strong positive reaction from investors. Like, really strong.
And the reason? Favorable economic conditions in Argentina. Optimism.
That seems to be the narrative.
Yeah.
Improving economic indicators, maybe more investor liquidity flowing in, general optimism about Argentina, perhaps.
But analysts are a bit mixed. Optimistic overall, but still cautious.
Well, yes. You see that often with emerging markets, don't you? There's enthusiasm about positive signs, maybe those macroeconomic indicators you mentioned, increased liquidity. But there's always that underlying caution because of, regional economic uncertainties, Argentina's history,
So it's like short-term good news, but long-term question marks remain.
That seems to capture the sentiment, yes. The immediate surge reflects current optimism, but the caution reflects the inherent volatility.
Gotcha. Okay, what about financial health? The reports didn't have the very latest numbers, did they?
No, not the full quarterly breakdown like revenue, EPS, PE, debt to equity, free cash flow. You'd need their official filings or, a financial database for the absolute latest.
But we did see they completed a rights offering recently.
We did. And that's usually a move companies make to strengthen their financial position, raise capital.
Right. Existing shareholders get the option to buy more shares, usually at a bit of a discount. It bolsters the balance sheet.
Exactly. It can slightly dilute existing shares, but the main goal is to get more cash on hand, improve that capital base. Shows they're being proactive, maybe.
And we saw that projected return on equity, the ROE, for 2025, around 15%.
15%. That's their target for profitability relative to shareholder equity. It's a decent number if they hit it.
But the key is comparing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
How does that 15% look next to Banco Santander or Banco Macro?
Precisely. That comparison gives you a much better sense of their performance versus peers in the same market. Is 15% leading the pack or just average? We don't quite know from this info alone.
Okay, so rights offering suggests strengthening finances. ROE target looks okay, but need more data for a full picture.
That's the takeaway. Need those core financial metrics.
All right, let's talk strengths and red flags. What's working for them and what are the big worries?
Okay, strengths first. We mentioned the diversification across banking, insurance, consumer finance. That's a big one. Helps buffer against problems in just one sector.
And the recent stock surge, that suggests the market likes something they're doing, right? Confidence.
Market confidence, yes. Plus, they're a well-established brand in Argentina. Brand recognition counts for a lot.
True. Anything else on the plus side?
Their focus on digital. Online banking, Naranja X, the investment platform, shows they're trying to adapt, stay relevant with financial trends. And they've apparently used strategic acquisitions for growth, too.
Okay, sounds pretty solid.
Right.
Now, the red flags, I'm guessing Argentina's economy is top of the list.
Absolutely. Operating there just inherently exposes them to economic instability. Inflation risk is huge.
Yeah.
And just general emerging market conditions. Things can swing wildly. Volatility in the stock price is almost a given. The macroeconomic factors are really crucial here.
So how much can those strengths, like diversification and digital focus, actually shield them from that big Argentinian risk?
That's the key question, isn't it? The diversification can help. Maybe Naranja X does okay even if traditional lending slows, for example. A strong brand can help retain customers. Digital efficiency can lower costs.
But systemic shocks.
But yeah, a major systemic shock, hyperinflation, severe recession, that's going to hit almost everyone operating there, no matter how diversified or well-branded they are. The strengths mitigate. They don't eliminate the country risk.
Understood. Okay, competition. You mentioned Banco Santanderio and Banco Macro. Big names.
Very big names. International presence in Santander's case. Macro is a major domestic player, too.
Do we know GGAL's market share? How big are they relative to those two?
The sources didn't give specific market share numbers, but they consistently refer to GGAL as a major player or significant player in the Argentinian financial sector, so definitely up there.
And you mentioned their digital innovation as a potential competitive edge.
It could be. If their platforms are better, easier to use, offer more features that can attract and retain customers, especially younger demographics, it's definitely an area where banks are competing hard everywhere.
So knowing the competitive landscape is pretty vital then.
Oh, absolutely. You need to understand who they're fighting against for customers and deposits and loans. It tells you about the pressure they're under and where their advantages might lie.
Right. So looking ahead now, future outlook, potential catalysts, what should people be watching?
Well, obviously, upcoming earnings reports, those will give the hard numbers on financial performance and show if they're hitting targets like that 15% ROE.
And the big picture, Argentina's economy. Any improvements there would presumably help GGAL.
You'd think so. Greater stability, lower inflation, economic growth. That would likely be a significant positive catalyst for the whole sector, including GGAL.
And the risks looking forward. More economic instability.
That's the main one, yes. Continued instability is a major risk. Also, changes in financial regulations in Argentina that could impact how they operate, capital requirements, things like that.
Anything else specific to GGAL we should track?
I'd keep an eye on any news about their strategic initiatives, particularly around Naranja X or their digital platforms, and, how effectively they integrate any past or future acquisitions. Execution is key.
Okay. We also saw some notes on recent developments beyond the stock surge. Things like corporate restructuring.
Yes, mentions of focusing on restructuring and strategic initiatives aimed at improving operational efficiencies.
Which sounds like management trying to tighten things up, be more profitable.
That's usually the goal, yeah. It suggests an active management team not just resting on their laurels, but looking for ways to improve performance, generally seen as positive, assuming the restructuring works.
And there was something about the shareholders meeting, proposing to review financial statements.
Right. For the 2025 meeting, that's pretty standard corporate governance. Shareholders get to review and approve the accounts. Important, but routine.
Doesn't tell us much new, but shows normal procedures are happening.
Exactly.
Okay, finally, valuation and risk assessment. The due diligence summary mentions some things, but we're missing some key metrics.
We are. Things like the price-to-book ratio, or PB ratio, comparing the stock price to the company's net asset value that's important for valuing banks. And dividend yield, what kind of income it pays out, those weren't provided here.
And beta, to measure volatility.
Beta would be very useful too, especially given the Argentinian context. It tells you how much the stock price tends to move compared to the overall market. A high beta would confirm high volatility.
And other risks besides the economy.
The due diligence report flagged regulatory risks, which we mentioned, and potential legal issues. Pretty common risks for any large financial institution, really.
So for valuation and risk, the takeaway is You need more numbers, and you need to consider these other factors too.
Definitely. You need those specific valuation metrics to judge if the price is fair, and you need to weigh the economic risks alongside regulatory and legal ones for a full picture.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together for you listening. Grupo Financiero Galicia. It's looked like a pretty interesting situation.
It does. You've got this well-established, diversified financial company in Argentina.
Riding a wave of positive market sentiment recently, that big stock jump, and management seems active, focusing on efficiency.
But, and it's a big but, there's the inherent economic volatility of Argentina that hangs over everything.
So that recent stock surge is nice, encouraging perhaps, but you really need to understand the underlying financials, which we only have glimpses of here, and keep a very close eye on that macroeconomic situation.
And that projected 15% ROE for 2025.
That's quite ambitious given the context, isn't it? Achieving that consistently in Argentina would be impressive.
Yeah, how they actually navigate the economic realities to hit that number, that'll say a lot.
And while the market's clearly optimistic right now, you have to ask, are the strategic initiatives driving this sustainable for the long haul? Or is it more about short-term economic hopes?
Good questions. So what this all suggests is a company with real opportunities, definitely. That diversification, the digital push.
But also significant risks, primarily tied to Argentina's economic health. So for anyone looking seriously at GGAL, understanding that broader economic picture and really digging into their financial reports when they come out, watching how management executes, that's all going to be absolutely essential.
It's definitely not a simple story based on this overview. Lots of moving parts.
Hopefully, though, this exploration has given you a much clearer picture of the key factors you need to consider. The strengths, the risks, the context.
Made things a bit clearer, hopefully.
And hey, if you found this analysis helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, like, maybe leave a comment.
Yeah, it genuinely helps us figure out what kinds of companies and topics you want us to look into next.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us on Investing Talk Podcast.